What is up, you guys? It is Nundark, back like I never left, but I know I did. And I know it's been 2 weeks since I last uploaded, a little over 2 weeks actually. And I want to apologize for that. It's been crazy busy. I've been traveling a lot for work, bachelor parties, weddings, you name it, just summer vacations, just things that get you caught up. And I did not do a good enough job prepping enough content to keep pumping stuff out during that couple week stretch. But I am back. I've been loving the engagement in the comments. I've still tried to stay engaged while I'm gone. And I've certainly still stayed up to date on what is happening in the Pokemon world and the Pokemon TCG. So there's a lot of videos prepped in my notes while I'm sitting on flights. I'm thinking of content. I'm thinking, what can I pump out there? What topics can we discuss? And I have a lot planned. So thank you for sticking along for the ride. Sorry for the lack of content. We're back. We couldn't be more excited. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000. I love engaging with the community. I love where this channel has gone, and I'm excited to take it a step further. Without further ado, welcome to summer. Ignore my Christmas tree. That will always stay up. I just love its vibe. It's got Pikachu ornaments all over it, favorite Pokemon. And speaking of Pikachu, look at this guy. Milwaukee Brewers Pikachu. Brew Crew Custom J with the Nundark 23. You'll be seeing a lot, as I just almost destroyed my desk. You will be seeing a lot of this jersey. I cannot get enough of it. It came across my Instagram feed. I'll give a shout out to it in another video, but I absolutely love the look of this and had to put the name on the back. I can't get enough of it. Let's talk about today's topic. The market is going like this. You guys have seen this, especially with alt art cards from the Sword and Shield era, and even the big hitters from Scarlet and Violet. The market hit a low right around January, February, other than some special sets like 151, and there's obviously some exceptions. But January and February was kind of like a dark, brief period for Pokemon, and some things were doing a little bit of this. They are like this right now. Alt arts are like this, chase cards are like this, even certain sets like Paldea Evolved, Crown Zenith, obviously certain chase cards from Sword and Shield are going up, but like sets as a whole, like Crown Zenith and Paldea Evolved, are just like doing nothing but climbing, approaching that $1,000 mark once again for the set. And I think it's the highest Paldea has ever been since release. So we're gonna talk about today, we have about 20 Scarlet and Violet cards that if you don't have these in your collection, you can take this video however you want. It is 20 Scarlet and Violet cards that are climbing in a great way. Like you wouldn't believe. Scarlet and Violet is still very much in its new stages, approaching its halfway point. We haven't seen growth like this early on in an era in a long time. And we're gonna go over a bunch of Scarlet and Violet chase cards and hits and illustration rares, special illustration rares that are seeing a lot of percentile growth in their value over the past, 2 to 4 months, let's say. And if you are someone who doesn't, you can take this video a lot of ways. If you don't have these cards, you might want to go get them. If you think that they've kind of reached their peak and they've become almost out of your collecting budget and out of your price range, stay away from them. Just enjoy the fact that Pokemon is on a climb. And then if you have these in your collection, celebrate. If you find that these cards, if you didn't know that these cards are experiencing the growth that they are right now, enjoy it. Soak it in, cherish these cards that much more. Not that money is everything, but when you find out, whether it's through my channel, this video, someone else, word of mouth, doesn't matter, buddy comes over and they're like, hey, that Magikarp that you had from Paldea that you got for $40, or even let's say you got 2 months ago for $80, is $145 now. That should make you excited. So without further ado, we're gonna start right from the top, Twilight Masquerade, and we're gonna work backward. There are some sets that don't really have any, and that's kind of par for the course for the ones that are left out. But I tried to hit most of them, and I went through and found the ones with huge percentile growth that are notable cards, chases, or kind of tier 2 chases. And we're gonna start with the Greninja from Twilight Masquerade. This SIR is now up to $197.63. $197. It will not, I don't think it'll stay there, but to have a $200 chase card when you're competing against the Charizard from 151, the Charizard from Paldean Fates, and other like the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved, for the #1 Scarlet and Violet card to be the Greninja, yes, it's a recent set, But you guys got to remember, Twilight Masquerade came out like over a month ago. Twilight Masquerade is not new news anymore. It has been widely opened. Obviously sets start hot and there's a lot of fluctuation there and a lot of volatility in the market. But then after about a month, they kind of start to take shape and usually do a little bit of a decline. Some of these cards have not, some of the trainers right after the Greninja, the Carmen, the one with the Growlithe, the Pen, they just haven't seen the drop that we typically see. But this Greninja, approaching a $200 card. If you don't think that that's going to last, sell it off. Enjoy that you just profited. If you do think it's going to last, hold on to the sucker. And if you just love the card because it is a fantastic artwork, just love the fact that it's climbing, 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 baby. $197. The next one is the Chansey. I was huge on the Chansey, and I said this in another video. The Chansey, when it came out, was a $10 card. It stayed a $10 card for weeks, and it has like 5 151 Gen 1 Pokemon in it. It's that Chansey that I'm showing on the screen, the Chansey illustration rare, and it's beautiful, and it's just perfect. And now it's finally at $19.81. I am a firm believer that this will become a well over $20 card. Kind of something like we'll talk later, the Raichu and the Tyranitar from Paldea. They start around that $20 mark, and you'll see where they're at now. And that's Twilight Masquerade. Then you get into Temporal Forces. The Raging Bolt has now become the #1 chase card in that set. SIR, the Tall Giraffe, the Storm-looking Tall Giraffe, Prehistoric Raikou, $82.39. Crazy gains on this card. #1 chase card now. And then the Morty's Conviction. I have right here, I have a couple to show. This is the Morty's Confidence. This is the Japanese version. This is the secret rare I pulled from the Japanese version of Temporal Forces. And the Morty's Conviction in English is going for $44.07. This is basically a Gengar SIR, is what a lot of people are kind of seeing it as, kind of like the Ghastly is almost a Gengar card. They're just such popular Pokemon. So we have Morty's Conviction, and then from Paradox Rift, 20 cents away from being the #1 chase card in Paradox Rift right now, which is insane, but well warranted, might add, well warranted, just not how it started out looking, is this Groudon. Again, this is the Japanese counterpart. I wish I had the real one. This Groudon is now $52.47. It is so, pairing it next to the Tyranitar from Paldea only makes sense. It's like two Godzillas going after it, whether they're on the same team or not. These two bad boys towering over their surroundings are gaining value. People clearly love like that mega, just intimidating artwork. And this Fiery Groudon is now the #2, but almost and barely, basically the #1 chase card in Paradox Rift. Then we get into Paldea. Paldea, we have the big boy, the Magikarp, illustrated by the one and only Shinji Kanda. If I got that right, I hope I did. Also the same artist of the Giratina V from Lost Origin. This Magikarp right here, one of my prized possessions. This is $143.95. Are you kidding me? And this is warranted. Not that the Greninja is not, but the Greninja is still kind of a new card and sitting around 200. This started at like $40. Then it went to 50. Then Paldea Evolved took a huge dip and it didn't. And then it kind of went up to 60 and then 70. And then it finally passed the Iono SIR. Then it crossed the $100. Then there was a buyout that brought it from like that $80 to $120 card. And then after that buyout, we're like, oh, this has to go back to, you know, the law of averages and back to the mean, regress to the mean. Nope, $145. Don't see it slowing down anytime soon. There's a Gyarados at the top of the waterfall. Kind of hard to see with all the penny sleeves and protectors on it. But yeah, this Magikarp is setting the standard. I think it's the #2 most expensive Scarlet and Violet card right now. And after that, there's a lot in Paldea Evolved. The set, as I said, has continued to climb. You have the Iono SIR, which is now up to $79.75, which is around where it's always been. But it's just cool to see that that card, amidst the Magikarp's hype, is still holding its value. Two others on the rise are illustration rares, and that's the Raichu, the Sleepy Raichu. We all know this card. This is up to $40.39, and the Tyranitar that I showed is up to $35.02. These were both at one point, for the longest time, $20 cards, kind of like we now see the Chansey from Twilight Masquerade. These were always fan favorites, and look at them now, 45 or 40 and 35. So just keep that in mind as you look at more current sets, but Paldea Evolved is really making moves. And then the last one, there's obviously the Chi and Pao, the Chi-Yu, Fiery Chi-Yu SIR. It's kind of like the fiery goldfish showing on the screen. I don't personally own it. At one point I did, and I regretfully traded that away. It's now $33.63. Nothing in Obsidian Flames that's worth, not saying, I mean, Obsidian Flames, Charizard just, they either overdid Charizard because Charizard 151 and Paldean Fates are doing very well. So this just wasn't a hit. The Terra Charizard look, it just must not have done it for people. Obsidian Flames has never held much value anytime, significantly after its release, and that kind of remains true today. The cards they're not going down, but they're certainly not seeing the climbs that other sets are making. And the reason nothing from Paldean Fates is shown on here, that set's doing very well and really holding its value, but it's not seeing these massive percentile jumps. So that brings us to Scarlet and Violet base, and we have the Miriam, which is at $31.97. That is not a good value for a chase card of a set. The Obsidian Flames SIR Charizard is actually higher, but for the growth it's seeing, it was in the teens and then it was in the low 20s, and now it's finally starting to get into that $30 to $40 range as a chase trainer card, which is good to see. And then right after that is the Gardevoir at $29.28, so another $30 card in Scarlet and Violet base, which it just hasn't seen since release. And then Miraidon is at $21.87. So Scarlet and Violet base is starting to see more substantial growth than Obsidian Flames, still low valued cards. There's still like 7 or 8 Paldea Evolved cards worth over what the top Scarlet and Violet base card is. Then obviously now we're through Scarlet and Violet. I just wanted to tease into the back end of Sword and Shield, continuing to work in kind of reverse chronological order, just to transition us into what the next video is going to be, and that is the alt arts that are climbing. We're going to focus right now on Crown Zenith. Crown Zenith as a set, massive gains. It went through a huge reprint. We all know this back end of last year, early into this year, huge Elite Trainer Box reprint, 11-pack, fun Zamazenta and Zacian figurine boxes with 11 packs, and it just tanked the price of Crown Zenith. It is all the way back. You have the golden Giratina up to $116.13. There's those 4 gold cards. The second one there is the Arceus, that's $72.31. So the Giratina and the Arceus are like $200 combined right now. And then you have the other 2 gold cards, and right after, actually before those 2, now third in value, it was always the 4 gold cards before you got to the Mewtwo. The Mewtwo has now passed the lower 2 gold cards, and it follows the Arceus at $63.42. This Mewtwo, it's I think Dialga and Palkia are the other 2 gold cards. I was drawing a blank that whole time I was talking about it. ADD started to kick in. This Mewtwo, guys, fighting the Charizard. There's a Charizard Black Star promo reversing the look of this scene. So it's a duality card, and it's actually up in this frame. It's like one of those cards is the Charizard duality card here. This card is gorgeous. It is now $63.42. This was at one point in the 20s, I think 30s maybe, and then it was in the 40s when I pulled it with my wife. It is now $63.42, and it is a gorgeous duality card, now the number 3 card in Crown Zenith. And then a couple other ones taking massive gains, more than the 3 legendary dogs, are the evolutions from Crown Zenith Trainer Gallery, or Galarian Gallery, the Leafeon and the Glaceon. So I traded the Leafeon, but I do have the Glaceon right here, and the Leafeon is $34.18. The Glaceon has gone to $26.19. These are big cards. These would be the chase cards of Scarlet and Violet base, and these are like numbers. They're barely in the top 10 of Crown Zenith. So Crown Zenith is really taking flight, really showing gains. The evolutions are no exception, as they shouldn't be. And then 2 from the non-Galarian Gallery of Crown Zenith, so the Crown Zenith base set, if you will, are this Alessa's Sparkle. This is $16.86 as the number 1 card from Crown Zenith base. And then you have your iconic Pikachu secret rare, the only secret rare from the entire set. There's 4 golds, there's only 1 secret rare. And this secret rare was for a while a sub $10 card, hovering for a long time around $8. It is now $13.01. So a lot of us have this card. It is a very busy artwork. There's other Pokemon scattered around there, and it is just so cool. Chaotic, perfect, tons of others. That is Zubat or a Crobat in there. Just so many other cards in this artwork, and it is just so perfect that Pikachu holds the 1 secret rare in the last set ever released in Sword and Shield as kind of just the big bang, and it's now up to $13. It's easier to pull than I think a lot of people thought it would be, and maybe that's why it's only $13. This card has to be more than that in the future. It's perfect, and it's finally getting some of the love it deserves, passing that $10 mark, and then some. And that brings me to one last teaser, which is transitioning us into the next video. Like I said, Sword and Shield alt arts. On one of the bachelor parties I was at over these past 2 weeks, which was a reason for my lack of content, I lost in a golf tournament, and the losers got a Heavy Hitters Sword and Shield box. The winners got a Temporal Forces booster box. So you would think 36 packs in a booster box where half of them are going to have an SIR. That's what the winner should get. And 14 loose Sword and Shield packs. Let's give that to the runner-up team. While I was on that runner-up team, Sword and Shield packs, impossible pull rates. That's why it went to the losers. This was pulled. The Lugia alt art from Silver Tempest was in, we had 3 Silver Tempest packs out of the 14 packs, and I was on a team of 4. So we divvied up packs, and then we looked at who wanted the Silver Tempest. I just said, yep, give me one of those, and we just divvied them out. No rhyme or reason. This ended in my lap, and this was the card that was pulled, and it was a moment I will never forget. Boys went crazy. I just hope we can all have some of those memories and moments, no matter who you open cards with, whether it's yourselves, your families, your spouse, your friends. Moments like this, pulling cards like this, will never be forgotten, and that's what makes this card special. An additional element to that is that this was a $120 card for the longest time. When I pulled this, it was $218 on TCG Player a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Right now, it's at $198.79. Don't let that dip scare you. That's a minor, not even 10% dip for this card, but this is a $200 alt art. That is right around its peak all-time high, and every other Sword and Shield alt art is starting to do that as well. Not starting to do that, has been doing that. Alt arts in general have 2x themselves across the board and then some, and that's going to be the next video. We're going to go over the top alt arts from every Sword and Shield set, the values that they've seen, where they sit now, and if you have them, be stoked. They've seen even bigger gains than some of these Scarlet and Violet ones. I just know how current and modern Scarlet and Violet is, and it hasn't seen the gains of Sword and Shield that Sword and Shield has, so it's cool. I want to make sure that was the first video. Let's reverse chronological order this, and let's show that Scarlet and Violet, there is hope for it. We are in the infancy stages of it, kind of approaching right around 50%, and we are finally starting to see that Scarlet and Violet is a great era, great artwork. People do appreciate it, and these cards are holding value. So the hate towards Scarlet and Violet era, and that the hits won't ever compare to the Giratina, the Moonbryon, they might not. Those 2 cards are iconic, but they just might. And the era might just compare to Sword and Shield some way, shape, or form 10, 20 years from now. I love to see the gains. I can't wait for the next video. And yeah, good to be back. A lot of content coming. Get ready for it. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet. We'll catch you in the next one. Most importantly, be a good human. Tell someone you love them. Peace.